A barrier of tree and vine stands before me, 100 feet tall. There's a certain beauty to it. I've lived in the city my whole life, a world of beige, tan, and dun. Hardly a beautiful or safe place, but their colors I know and dangers I'm used to. Dark and vibrant greens, shady browns, dashes of red, yellow, blue and purple dotting the ground. These are colors I associate with danger beyond my understanding. This is the forest. This is not a land for humans, but a violent and murderous land of monsters and death. No wonder I'm so excited. Not even the weight of my self-loathing can still the hammering heart in my chest, the mouth-watering anticipation of an unrestrained, unrestricted feast. This horrible, alien place could be my grave. But if it's not, it will be my paradise. Wide lines of toxins and stone stem the tide of green, separating the forest from the fields. Hunters are far from the first vanguard against humanity's fight with the forest. Workers, often prisoners or slaves, survey the area around the fields day and night. Biomancers concoct deadly herbicides in a constant arms race against the plants that consume the poison, die from it, and feed their ever-stronger children with the sacrifice. We have to grow food somewhere, but anywhere we want to plant grain or vegetables is somewhere the forest wants to control instead. The moment I step over our desperate defenses against the encroaching green, I am in enemy territory. I don't have a biomancer with me. Even a single mistake could spell my death. I know this, yet I don't hesitate for a moment. As soon as I sense them, I make my way towards a small pack of small, shivering, silver-colored souls. Blade deceivers, I recognize them as six-legged beasts that only come up just above my ankle. They're a common danger to newer hunter teams. When hiding or resting, they look just like simple stones, chunks of rock on the ground that often stay still long enough for plants to grow over and around them, sometimes covering them entirely. In less than a second, however, they can unfold into a brutal collection of limbs and spikes, jagged and fully capable of ripping through leather armor plus the skin underneath it. A colony of them can climb over and tear a human to shreds in moments, inflicting so many wounds so quickly that even a team with a biomancer has no hope of healing them in time. Our team, of course, has never had a problem with them. Penelope can wipe them out at range with her talent, and even if it comes to a fight they have no chance of getting through Nora's armor. Not to mention that I can simply eat them like wheat. I walk directly towards the monsters, and once I'm close all 8 of them burst directly at me. They die without ever making contact. It's a wonderful, satisfying feeling. Now, what to do with the souls? I could just eat them and leave. But even a monster as weak as these has a soul noticeably larger than the shard I'd used to raise them. I could eat the soul, then take out a shard from myself to turn the body into what Greg called a dreg zombie, a lifetime ago. That way, I still have a net gain in personal power. Zombies created by nothing other than one of my shards are phenomenally stupid, though. I could instead use the soul and a shard to make a zombie, which would be a much stronger and more intelligent minion but a slight loss in terms of food. The process is identical to making a revenant, but from what I remember of Grig's undead-type lessons, these ones would technically be risen, not revenants. Blade deceivers are far too simple and stupid to share a name with revenants. An intelligent, weapon or magic-wielding human zombie with all the power it had in life is nowhere near the same category of threat as a monster that simply retains its instincts rather than being entirely mindless. I turned 2 of the blade deceivers into risen and the other 6 into dregs, just to get a handle on the difference. It's fairly obvious and immediate. The dregs shamble along slowly, staggering about the forest floor with a slow, awkward gait. I order one to run and it just trips. The risen, meanwhile, move just like they had in life, scuttling about with purpose and alacrity. They're actually kind of cute now that I can look at them without worrying about getting my tendons slit. Their spiny bodies twist and shift in dazzling patterns, fitting together like a seamless puzzle when they curl up into their rocky camouflage. Beady little eyes stare around hungrily from underneath their round bodies, glancing about with a simplistic yet still present intelligence. I pick one up in a gloved hand, petting a less sharp part of its body with a single finger. The risen deceiver squeaks happily. I grin, and set off to slaughter 100 more. My horde swells, though most of it is not composed of blade deceivers. Whenever I sense souls small enough for me to rip out without a struggle, I head towards them, carving a trail of death through the forest. At this point in my hunt, I've amassed 87 dregs of various creatures and 49 risen. It's not even that difficult to do. The only hard parts are remembering to be careful and knowing when to stop. If I go too deep into the forest, I will die. It's one thing to have finally found my conviction to push myself, it's another thing entirely to be suicidal about it. Even fodder I can slay with a thought has a chance, no matter how small, of killing me horribly. Anywhere in the forest, I'm one poisoned dart or bad cut away from death. It almost happened, in fact, my armor barely saving me from the needle of a creature I didn't realize could shoot me from outside my range. I retreated instantly, sending zombies to do the job for me, but it had been startlingly close. The deeper I go, the more likely deaths like that become. Even with an army, I'm scared to fight something like the Queen Burrowhound. Or one of the Vigor Rock monsters. I'd bet they can still heal from eating zombies. It's meat and a soul, same as any living thing. At the same time, however, I can't just stick to the safer parts of the forest. If I stay too shallow, I can't hide my undead horde from a threat just as big, humans. I'll be too worried about running into travelers or other hunters if I stick close to Skyhope or the road. Eventually, I make my decision by putting the decision off for later. I'm just going to slowly head deeper until something spooks me out of my comfort zone, reaping delicious monster souls all along the way. I don't have any real strategy for turning them into dregs or risen or just food, and I don't care. It's just so freeing. I have no need to hold back, no need to pretend to grow at a steady pace. I am here to annihilate, consume, and conquer. It's funny, hunter teams often have to make the difficult choice between hovering around the bodies of the things they kill and moving on. Leave too fast, the common wisdom goes, and you risk having your recently killed foes rise as zombies behind you. It's not common, but it happens. Stick around too long, however, and the meat can draw aggressive scavengers. Obviously, my team has never once had a problem with zombies, but we often stick around and waste time because I can't just fucking tell them that the monster souls can't create undead after being eaten. Everything would be so much easier if not for the damn church. It's so annoying. Hours pass, but I'm still going strong. I intend to keep fighting and feasting through the night. In fact, it's too soon to go back yet. I need to get stronger. I need to eat more. I need to. Each soul I consume restores my stamina, allowing me to keep fighting to the next one, and the next one, and the next and the next. It's exhilarating. I feel like I belong here. My sensory range swells yard by yard. Even from just a single fucking afternoon my tendrils have grown a foot in length. I laugh, a smile splitting my face as my soul effortlessly rips through a congregation of little disciples, the betentacled monsters that nearly killed my whole team back on my first mission. I twist the lot of them into risen. Little disciples are so much better as risen. The dregs slap monsters ineffectually with floppy limbs and can barely walk. The risen climb up beasts 3 times their size and bite their fucking throats out. Now made my slaves, the deadly tentacle beasts climb up me and I don't feel a drop of fear at their touch. The zombies preen and coo, their quickly cooling bodies happily enjoying the scratches and pats I lavish them with as their reward for death. It's such a funny sound, I can't help it. I laugh some more. When was the last time I laughed? The question halts me for a moment, snapping my mind out of the high I've been drunk on for the past few hours. Why am I even laughing in the first place? I'm here because Angelina's dead. I'm here because I fucked up and I have to be strong enough to make it right. This isn't the time to be having fun. I should be training. Working. I sigh to myself, gripping my spear and twirling a light drill with it. Right, yeah. I've been having fun slaughtering the smaller stuff, but what I really need is some way to deal with high magic resistance and souls out of my weight class. Rowan's words echo in my mind, way back from when I first started training. Technique is more important than raw power. I've been relying on brute force to face my problems, which is nice when it works, but generally a shitty plan in the long term. How I use my talent, how familiar I am with its workings, how creative I can be with its application. That's a vital part of strength. It's challenging to train that area of myself, however, since I'm always afraid of being detected. Out here, alone but for my pleasantly cuddly undead swarm, I'll have no such issues. Thankfully, I have no shortage of ideas on where to start. Developing a way to deal with stronger, more resistant foes is certainly a difficult challenge, but I've recently gotten an excellent push in the right direction, the Vigor Rock monsters. Normally, damaging a person's physical body has no effect on their soul energy. Hive-rock monster teeth shred bits of soul, however, cutting that energy which permeates around a person's body and trapping it in the bitten-off sections of flesh as they swallow. Normally, if you cut off a person's hand, the soul energy in that hand just returns to the body almost instantly. If I can figure out how to trap and steal it in chunks like those monsters, however, I can start chipping away at my target's magic resistance every time I stab them with my spear, eventually leaving them vulnerable to a soul yoink even if my strikes aren't otherwise deadly. But how do I make an object capable of scooping up bits of souls? Souls can touch souls, Hive-rock monster teeth, me, and nothing else that I know of. Making a spearhead out of a Hive-rock monster's tooth might do the trick, but I don't have any of those. But I have plenty of me, and plenty of souls. I can put souls in inanimate objects. What if I put one in my spear? Can it really be that simple? It turns out to not be that simple. Surrounded by undead bodyguards, I work through the night, eating one of them whenever I get tired. I eventually conclude that my theory is right, putting one of my soul shards in my spearhead is the way to go. But there's something wrong with the shard. When I put it in the spear, it tries to make a spear zombie, extending tendrils through the shaft and finding a grand total of 0 places it's capable of moving. I just end up with a normal spear that the Mistwatcher will likely reach up a tendril to and try to eat if I keep it around too long. I need a different kind of soul shard, one that will pull energy out from a body rather than push energy through one. I have to take my shard, take its magic, and reverse it. I have absolutely no idea how to do this. Reverse it? A deep sensory dive into the nature of my shard reveals something frighteningly complex, yet on some level I can feel my intuition sparking, helping me start to understand. This, my talent insists, is something I am meant to do. My shards are mine. Mine to command, to shape into what I need them for. I am a manipulator not of the souls of the living, but souls beyond it. I am the queen of the broken and the dead, and it is my sovereign right to wrench my subjects into the form best suited to me. Slowly, as night turns to day and starts to turn to night again, I start to see how my shard must shift. Now I just have to shift it. My tentacles aren't up to the task. They are thick and powerful, made for strength and murder. I need something smaller, more subtle. Something like Capita's threads, though I get the impression that's not the right track of thinking. I am not a being of subtlety. So as I hold my shard in my physical hand, I simply shove power through it. It flows into the shard, through its maze-like patterns and over its surface. It's like water filling a sponge. Or, I think with amusement, like an aura flowing into a brain. I hug Penta's soul lightly in one tendril, playing briefly with her inert soul cilia before returning my full focus to the shard. I flex my power, and it shifts. No longer a fragment of my capacity to create, it is now a shard of my skill at destruction. Good. I place it in my spear, feeling the shard grasp ravenously around the tip, eager to rip power out of flesh to add to its own. Perfect. Time to test it. I stand up, noticing with a shock how horribly stiff my body is. I guess I've been sitting here for over a day without moving. Whoops. My stomach burbles in protest as well, which settles it. After one test, I'm heading home. I need something too strong for me to simply soul rip, but not so strong that I'll fucking die while fighting it. I start walking around the forest, carefully scoping out my options, and after a couple hours I detect something that I think might just be a prime target. The soul is a jittery vibration, strong and sharp. The monster, and geez, I'm getting so used to feeling out souls I'm starting to emotion read monsters, is nervous to the point of paranoid, and my guess as to why is pretty clear. Underneath it are about a half-dozen tiny souls, solid black like a newborn baby's. The monster is protecting its kids. Common wisdom says that pissing off a monster mom is a one-way trip to meeting the Watcher, but holders of common wisdom generally don't have 100 zombies to back them up. The problem with zombies is that, ultimately, they're not very strong. Everything I've killed in the forest so far is weaker than I am. When I start hunting for things outside my weight class, there's a solid chance I'll encounter a monster that my zombies will struggle to hurt at all. The worst-case scenario is a monster that recognizes I'm the biggest threat and doesn't get distracted by my minions as I try to stab them. A mom protecting her babies has no such luxury, however. My strongest zombies are probably the risen little disciples, thanks to their speed, intelligence, and the remains of the anticoagulant venom they had in life, though that last one will eventually run out and their dead bodies won't be able to produce more. Everything else is weaker and significantly dumber, and even the little disciples can't understand instructions more complicated than a couple words. I want my army to circle around the mother monster's position before we move in, but I don't have any way to order them to do so other than bringing my whole horde around the circle and manually ordering specific zombies to stay put. I'm not even sure why my zombies respond to verbal commands at all, but it's the only thing that seems to work. Something to look into later. For now, the monster has to know we're here, but as I predicted, it can't rush at us while protecting its nest. Once I have my minions set up, I peek out of the brush behind it to look at its body for the first time. Given the power packed into the monster's soul, I'm surprised to find that it's not all that much larger than a normal human. Gray, gleaming chitin covers the creature's entire body. Two thin, blade-like back limbs and three dangerously sharp forelimbs mark the creature as a pentapede, specifically an iron shell pentapede, no relation to Penta herself, of course. I recognize it because it's one of the creatures we were taught to look out for. Its chitin is absurdly tough, making it an exceptionally dangerous monster to fight. But also an exceptionally valuable one. I could get a nice chunk of money if I bring this back to Skyhope. Unfortunately, I also have zero chance of damaging it unless I jab my spear into a joint or one of the thin, black bands running along the front of its body that act as eyes. The monster has no head at all, just a compact, single-segment body with a mouth facing the ground. Its middle front leg is a devastating weapon, capable of spearing through nearly anything. As such, I probably want to avoid going for an eye shot and stick to attacking from behind. Right then. Let's see if this works. Attack, I order my horde. There's no thought and no subtlety from my zombies, they move as one, gleefully swarming towards a life to snuff out. The pentapede shrieks, standing up on its long legs in an attempt to intimidate my minions, but they of course are entirely unaffected. To my surprise, I see a huge nest underneath where the monster was laying, with many more eggs than I was expecting. Only some of them have souls. Now's not the time to wonder why, though. The iron shell pentapede lashes out furiously, smashing one of my risen to a pulp. The soul inside it shatters, scattering into hundreds of tiny pieces as the body is ripped apart beyond repair. That soul can never again make a risen, and the body will never again house a workable zombie. They're simply too far gone. I wrinkle my nose in frustration. I'd hoped to be able to eat my horde when I'm done with them, but I won't get the chance if they die. I suppose I'd better get out there and start attacking, then. I move slowly towards the monster, trying to convince it that I'm less of a threat than the swarm blindly jumping at it. The pentapede is forced to stay put, however, guarding its nest with its body where it would likely otherwise overwhelm my whole army with speed and strength. Carefully, ever so carefully, I double-check that the shard is in my spear, line up a jab, and strike. My spearhead wedges into a crack in the monster's armor, yet barely even draws blood as the force of my attack is nowhere near enough to push further. That's not what I'm going for, however. The shard of soul in my spearhead reaches into the wound, drinking deep of my target's spirit before I pull the spear out and jump away from the furious pentapede as it nearly kicks my head off. I feel it. The monster's core is just a little bit damaged, and the shard in my spear is just a tiny bit stronger. Yes. Little by little, I strike from the giant bug's blind spots and damage its soul further and further. The hours spent picking an ideal target for my test were not wasted, and eventually the mother pentapede is poked enough by my soul-drinking spear that I can reach in a tentacle and kill it for good. Even forced to stand over its nest to shield its eggs, the damn monster slaughtered about 3 dozen zombies before ultimately succumbing. I happily eat its deliciously massive soul, along with the shard I put in my spear. Now then. What to do with all these eggs? I don't know if it's possible to domesticate an iron shell pentapede, but I bet a lot of people would pay a lot of money to try. Why do only some of them have souls, though? Are they not all fertilized? Well, even if I can't sell baby pentapedes, I bet pentapede eggs are delicious. I carefully pick up one of the soulless eggs, trying to decide how many of them I can reasonably carry along with the mother's carcass, when I feel something on the inside of the egg shake. A tap, a kick. It startles me so much that I drop the egg, jumping backwards as it splatters open on the ground. Inside is a baby pentapede. Without warning, against the very instincts in my body, it starts to move. To my mounting horror and revulsion, the tiny, vulnerable creature uncurls itself, making wobbly, confused steps. It inhales, it coughs. It is, in every discernible way, very clearly alive. Except, of course, to the screaming sense in my mind that tells me it does not have a soul. Why does it not have a soul? How can it be alive without a tendril far larger than any of my own can even dream of being enters my senses, upon me before I can even push the scream from my lungs? It's one of the seemingly infinite strands of the Mistwatcher's will that steal the souls of the dead, pulling them down into the god's ravenous maw. As it wraps around me, I am certain that somehow it will pluck my life away at that very moment. It curls and slides around my body, bringing back an infestation of nightmares upon my mind before ultimately letting go, ignoring me, and moving to the newborn 5-legged beast. It does not take a soul, for there are no free souls here to take. I have collected what I could of my fallen zombies, and returned the soul in my spear to my body. No, this tendril possesses the opposite purpose today. It reaches inside itself, snaps, and pulls. The Mistwatcher creates a soul shard. Black, formless, it is nearly identical to the shards in the souled eggs, nearly identical to the shard in every unborn baby. The Church says the Mistwatcher grants souls to all creatures, and I witness now it is no overly zealous boast. Placing its shard inside the newborn pentapede, the creature twitches and spasms as its new soul pushes energy in and around its body, settling into place, entwining itself so intimately with the creature that removing it without causing death is impossible. As if by design. Soon, the twitching stops, the monster resumes its activities, and the horrible weight of the Mistwatcher's spiritual presence retreats back down through the island, intangible to all things other than souls and myself. The Mistwatcher gave it a soul, yet the monster had been moving, acting, thinking without one. That thing had been taking its first steps, breathing its first breaths, without ever having a soul in the first place. The truth I'd thought I'd known for certain was nothing but a baseless assumption. In reality, souls are not necessary for life. So, I'm left to wonder. What the fuck are they? What is a festival? I ask the August. I've been living with the old man, it turns out that's why he's wrinkly, that means a human is old, for a few days now. I've been very careful about it, and I haven't bitten him even once. After all, he's kept every promise that he's made, so far. He doesn't try to touch me or see under my disguise. He doesn't order me around. He talks to me and teaches me things when I want to know, and he leaves me alone when I want him to. At the same time, however, he doesn't obey me. He only does what I tell him to if he feels like it, and often reprimands me for making demands at all. I can't force him to obey without revealing myself, either. It's a frustrating stalemate. I still find myself coming back to this home with him, however. I even feel comfortable enough to risk letting on that I don't know things that humans should know. Hence, my question about festivals. Have you never been to a festival before, Lark? The August asks. I have never heard of a festival, I grumble. That's why I'm asking you what it is. You said this was a festival mask, right? The mask is the bit that covers my face. What is the festival part? The August chuckles, shaking his head a little. Then he stops suddenly, frowning to himself and appearing to think. A festival is when a lot of people get together to celebrate something, the August answers slowly. It's a happy event where lots of people have fun together. We live here in New Tulsi, but we still celebrate the upcoming festival about the founding of Skyhope, our capital. The sky itself bestowed on our island a great blessing of metal and glass, which made the crater that Skyhope was built in. We give the Mistwatcher our thanks with this celebration. I frown, understanding most of the words but trying to figure out how they fit with the ones I don't. I don't understand what that has to do with my mask. It is tradition for people to wear those masks to the festival. I sigh. What's tradition? This goes on for quite some time, and I learn many more new words. Many of the words are stupid or nonsensical, but I learn them anyway. Currently, the August and I are at the place the August sleeps. I like to watch him sleep. I don't go onto his bed or get anywhere near him, but it is easy to open the door to his room and watch him in the night. At first, I was concerned that the August would go back on his word. I was afraid that he would try to do something against me while I was away. I don't know why I care. Ultimately, he is food. No matter what he does, he will end up in my belly. I do not have the chloretta anymore. When I start to bite someone, they will inevitably die. I suppose that is why I stay my teeth. The August is useful. Maybe even trustworthy. Maybe he won't betray me like the chloretta did. I feel a spike of irritation for even thinking about this. He's food. I keep having to remind myself of that. The August and I walk towards town together, as we have every morning since I first decided to stay with him. Sometimes he asks me to help him sell things, and when I do he gives me weird stuff afterwards. He calls them toys, which apparently means that I am supposed to play with them. All of them are made out of wood and some have interesting aspects like moving parts or funny names. One of them, the pinwheel, spins when the wind hits it. I like to say its name. Pinwheel. 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 The August says that it will also spin if I run fast enough, but I am afraid to run anywhere humans can see me. They might catch on if they see my true speed. I do not want any of my prey catching on before I decide how best to hunt them. I haven't eaten for days. The hunger inside me roils, clambering and screaming for a fractional, temporary relief. It is infuriating. I know that humans and almost every other potential meal eventually start to suffer and die if they do not eat. I have no idea if or when this will happen to me. I do know that the longer I go without eating, the more ravenous my urges become. I don't want to eat lesser meals, however. Maybe if I have to, or there is some other creature that catches my eye. I have been tempted in the past to catch and eat large numbers of birds, so that one day I can fly. After learning the origin of my name, however, I don't really like thinking about birds. Humans it is. The August sets up his shop as he does every day. I stick around for a short while asking more questions and learning more words. Soon, though, I depart, not interested in trading my time away for more strange wooden trinkets. Today I have worked up enough courage to believe that I will not be found out should I enter the city proper. Well, enough courage and enough hunger, anyway. I do not think I can spend many more days starving alone with the August. The city is so much duller in color than the forest. The August says that this part of the island has so much salt in its soil that plants, trees and flowers and grass, which is somehow the same category of thing, cannot grow here. This makes it very difficult for the humans to get food, as they apparently eat plants somehow. The humans here trade the salt they pull out of the ground for plants that other humans pull out of the ground so that the humans here can eat and the humans and other places can. I don't know, have salt for some reason. The August bought some salty meat and said it tasted better that way, but to me it just smelled the same as every dead thing. It still startles me how many humans are here. I used to think all humans looked exactly the same, except for the strange detachable skin they wear. I'm starting to learn that they change the skin almost every day, and I have to figure out which human is which by using differences in their faces. It is not going well at all. The August is very wrinkly, so that helps a lot, but it turns out there are lots of humans that are wrinkly. I have accidentally talked to the wrong human more than once, though thankfully they never chase me when I run away afterwards. I am letting my mind wander again. I should really stop thinking about humans and start thinking about how to eat humans. They really are very interesting, though. As my feet patter slowly into the nest of stone buildings, the sheer variety of these delicious creatures stuns me anew. How am I supposed to figure out a hunting strategy when every single human appears to be doing something completely different? I guess I'll hunt the humans one at a time? It seems obvious now that I'm thinking about it. It's not as though I'm going to catch a bunch of them at once. I am more than a little frustrated how slow it will go and how long I will probably have to wait between meals. But how am I supposed to pick one human out of hundreds? Or is it thousands? The August told me more words for numbers, but I haven't actually counted the humans here. It is not as though I'll be able to figure out which ones are already counted anyway. What's that in your hand? A small voice interrupts my thoughts and I turn to meet face to face with one of the humans that are my size. I glance down at the wooden figure I've been fiddling with. As much as I love my pinwheel, the August gave me something new recently. I haven't let go of it since. It's a toy, I answer. It's neat. Where did you get it? The small human grins broadly, showcasing a missing front tooth. I feel a moment of discomfort, imagining how awful it would be if I'd lost a tooth too. I shudder a little, letting the feeling pass. I haven't lost any teeth, so who cares? Besides, human teeth are so wimpy and blunt that they can't be worth much of anything to the poor creatures anyway. Oh no. Eating humans isn't going to blunt my teeth, is it? No. No, surely not. None of my other kin that I've run into have ever had their teeth changed, no matter how much they ate other creatures, and my other kin seem to eat much more indiscriminately than I do. August made it for me. Who is that? It's cool. It looks like a bird. My fingers clench, and I almost crush the object right then and there. Almost. It's a lark, I answer, my voice carefully even. August is a nice man. No, wait, that still sounds like I swallow nothing but words. Shutting up. Shutting up is really my only reliable skill when it comes to pretending to be human. Thankfully the small human laughs, which I don't know what that means exactly, but it has never preceded something bad happening to me. So far. Can you introduce me? Do you think he would make me something too? What's your name? I'm Sharif. Does your toy move? That was a lot of questions. I'm supposed to be the one asking questions. It would probably be weird not to answer, though. Yes, I can. I think he would make something if you paid or worked for him. My name is Lark. It does when I move it. Reluctantly, I demonstrate. Lifting up the wooden bird, I wiggle a lever on its back, somehow causing it to flap its wings up and down. The next time the August makes something like this, I am absolutely going to watch. Despite my distaste for its form, I'm very curious to how it moves. Are there strings inside? I could make a trap that moves something to the left when you pull a string down, so I can sort of imagine how it would work, but I don't remember the August ever working with threads. This Sharif human makes a bunch of strange noises, opening his eyes wide and putting his face up close to the bird. Can I play with it? No, I say immediately. It's mine. The human's expression drops into one I'm much more familiar with. It's not exactly the same as the expression on Claretta, but she had always had her mouth twisted downwards like that. Come on. Didn't your mum ever teach you to share? I don't have a mum. The small human blinks, opening its mouth and then closing it again without any sound coming out. It looks away from me. Sorry, the Sharif mutters quietly. You have a very cool mask. Yes. I am glad the small human recognizes my superior choice. So, why are you wearing it? I tilt my head slightly. Because I am hiding my face, I answer. Why are you hiding? The small human gasps. Are you wanted? Like an outlaw? I freeze, my heart almost skipping a beat. Something about that question puts an ache in my chest. I have no idea what an outlaw is, but... Are you wanted? I don't think so, I stammer. Not by the one person I want back, anyway. Well, okay. We should play together. You can keep your mask on and be an owl. Do you want to be friends? Do I want to be friends? I don't even know what that is. I have heard the word only once before. You made me choose between torturing my friend and watching her die. My whole body shudders at the memory. I get an urge to scream myself raw just like I had that night, but I clamp down on it. I am going to take you to August now, I say, not sure how else to answer. I don't trust myself to have a human-like response. Thankfully the Sharif seems satisfied with that, practically bouncing along behind me as I turn and exit the stone-built section of the human colony. Maybe the August can help me figure out what I'm supposed to do in situations like this. I should probably be scoping out a human that I want to hunt instead, but, well, I soon find myself back at the August stall anyway, the Sharif trailing closely behind. Whatever. The Sharif is too small and doesn't smell like a good target at all. This is August, I say pointing up at the wrinkly old man. He is very good at answering questions. The August is messing with, well, I guess the word is probably either whittling or carving a piece of wood, but there is apparently a difference and I have no idea what the difference is. He looks up at my words, peering down from behind his shop stall. The sides of his mouth turn upwards as he looks over myself and to the Sharif. Well, I have to be, the August says. You certainly give me a lot of practice, Lark. Who's this? This is named Sharif, I answer, pointing at the Sharif. That question is easy. I can answer that one. Oh, wow. The Sharif exclaims. Toys and festival stuff. This is super cool. The August will give you things if you put on a mask and start yelling. I pause for a moment before amending that. Well, you have to yell at the things he tells you to yell, specifically. The August laughs and shakes his head. I don't need any advertising right now, the August says. I appreciate it, Lark, but why don't you two go play? You should spend time with other people your age. My age? Oh, maybe the human is small because it has not lived for very long and so it hasn't eaten enough yet. That kind of makes sense, although plenty of my siblings my age are much, much bigger than I am. Does age really matter? How old are you? I demand, pointing at the Sharif. 6 years old. The Sharif exclaims with what might be a hint of pride. I recognize pride, I think. I was proud of a lot of things I had. I don't have any of them anymore. What's a year? I ask. 10 months? The Sharif answers hesitantly, after a brief period of thought. What's a month? 30 days. It proclaims much more confidently. I do some quick math in my head. Why are you so small? I ask, scowling behind my mask. You're way older than me, but we're the same size. The Sharif seems surprised, its confidence instantly shattered. I snort. Maybe humans are just really bad at eating. I'm not small. It insists incorrectly. Yes, I correct. You are. Now Lark, it's not nice to make fun of people for their height. The August insists, butting into our conversation. Sharif is a perfectly normal size for someone his age. I wrinkle my nose, not that anyone can see it. It's hard to believe that this tiny human has been alive for over 10 times as long as I have. I suppose I should just accept it, however. Maybe this is common knowledge among humans. Okay, I answer simply. Now, apologize to Sharif. I look up at the old man. Is this human trying to order me around? I guess. I don't actually know the answer to that question. What's an apologize? I grumble, narrowing my eyes. It's where you say sorry to someone you hurt, and promise to try not to hurt them that way again. What is this stupid human talking about? I haven't touched Sharif, I point out. He isn't hurt. He's not hurt physically, Lark. You hurt his feelings. Look at him. I look at him, which I assume means the Sharif. Some humans are him, which means they are a man, and some are her, which means they are a woman, and I have no idea what decides that. Anyway, his face seems a bit weird, but he looks fine otherwise. He's not even crying. There must be something I'm missing. What's feelings? I ask. The pause from the August that comes afterwards almost makes me fear I've said something horribly wrong. However, the August simply stands up, exiting his stall and putting up a small sign. He waves to a human behind the stall next to his, asking if the other human can watch over his things. After an affirmation from the second human, he kneels down next to the Sharif and looks us over. Sharif, the August starts, is your mother or father around? No, Sharif answers. I'm with Nana today. But I ditched her in town. How about the three of us go find her? The August offers. I'll show Lark how to apologize to you, and then you two can play. We walk together for a while, back into the collection of stone structures where most of the humans reside. The August is quiet at the start, as he often is before starting an explanation that will end up taking a long time. I want to tell him to hurry up, but that never really helps, so there's no point in trying. When he finally speaks, his words are slow and even, a carefulness to them that exceeds even his usual clarity. Feelings, which are also called emotions, are something that all people experience, all the time, he starts. They are that hard to specify state of your mind that occurs as a reaction to your situation and the people around you. Words like happy or sad, angry or jealous, love or hate. Those are feelings. I frown, and this time I'm the one taking a long time to respond. My mind churns through meanings, associations, and guesses. I don't need to know every word to start understanding. Like the bubbly, shaky thing that makes water come out of eyes, I say, keeping my eyes on the road and trying my best not to think about the only time I cried. Or when I want to hurt something that hurt me, even when I know I won't survive it. There's a pause. The August is probably giving me a look, but I can't understand his expression, so I don't bother taking my eyes off the road. You're describing sadness, the August explains. And anger. Those emotions have their time and place. They can be helpful to feel. They can teach you, show others you need help, or push you to act when you might otherwise be frightened. But they are not good emotions, generally. Jealousy isn't good either, nor hate. Jealousy is when you feel bad because someone else has things that are good, things you want. Hate is darker still. When the simple thought of someone makes you angry, when you want every success another person has to turn to failure, when you wish nothing but suffering on another. That is hate. No one but the very worst of us deserves to be hated, but plenty of weaker people hate for poor reasons, or no reason at all. People are going to come for you, and they are going to kill you, and there is nothing in the entire world I want more than that. Claretta wants me to suffer and die. She hates me, then. Does that mean she is weak, or does it mean I don't think I like feelings, I choke out. Oh, sorry Lark, the August says quickly. There are bad feelings, yes, but there are positive feelings too. Happiness is the most fundamental of them all, the state where you just feel good. Happiness comes from things like a warm bath, a hard-won victory, or the presence of a good friend. It's a beautiful feeling, something that all people ultimately strive for. Everyone wants to be happy. If you take someone's happiness away, that is a kind of pain. You don't want to be sad any more than you want to fall and skin your knee, do you, Lark? Under my cloak, I claw at my chest with a hidden hand. No, I confirm. I do not. Then you should apologize to Sharif for making him sad. I turn to the small human. I don't really want to apologize to him, because promising not to point out how small he is seems like a hassle. It's just true, it's not something to feel bad about. I apologize anyway, because the August tells me to and because the Sharif felt bad no matter what I thought he should have felt. That's how humans work, I guess, so that is what I will do. I'm sorry, Sharif, I mumble. I won't call you small again. The definitely not small even though he is human nods, apparently already back to his former energy. It's okay, Lark. I forgive you. I nod, deciding to assume that concludes this odd human ritual. I just have one more question. How do I be happy? I ask the August. He chuckles, showing his teeth at me. I'm fairly sure it's not a threat when humans do that. I find myself making the same expression under other circumstances, so I'm going to assume it's one of those. That is a question many people spend their whole lives trying to answer, Lark, the August tells me. But I'm very old and I've had a long time to think about it, so I'll do my best to give you a head start. The most wonderful and beautiful part of being human, if we can harness it, is the fact that we can be happy by bringing happiness to others. He kneels down, staring intently at both myself and the Sharif. The more you spread happiness, the happier you will be. And the happier you make those around you, the more they will return that happiness to you. Be kind, children. Think of others before yourself. It's not an easy thing to do. Start small, with those you love. But I promise you, there is no greater joy than from kindness. Trust in an old man who has tried everything else. He stands back up and we start to walk again, leaving me with yet more questions. I'm not sure where to start asking them though. Soon, we arrive at an open area, and although I've made no progress on finding a human to eat, we do find the Sharif's Nana and he and I start to play. At first, the game is simple. I am supposed to touch him, and then once I do I am supposed to not get touched in return. It is a good game. Good training for survival, although the Sharif is exceptionally bad at it. He would be dead if he went into the forest. I suppose that's probably why most humans don't live there. The Sharif gasps for air, leaning over with his hands on his knees. This is too hard. You're too fast. If you don't slow down, I can't catch you. Yes, I say blandly. I'm not supposed to get caught, right? It's not fun if I can't win. I suppose this is kind of boring. Okay, I agree. I won't use my legs. What? That would be way too easy. No it won't, I insist. You're slow, but you're not that slow. He doesn't say anything else, and just starts chasing me again with renewed vigor. I squat down and start scuttling around on my two visible arms, taking care to store and hold my wooden lark with one of the hands hidden inside my cloak. This is much more difficult, and I find myself grinning under my mask as the Sharif gets closer and closer to tagging me. Before I know it, more and more of the small humans my size have arrived, joining the Sharif in an attempt to catch me. I experience a brief moment of panic as they surround me, moving in from all sides, their hands getting closer and closer until eventually they tap me lightly. It doesn't hurt at all. Nothing bad happens to me. I stop moving, clamping down on the instinct to bite them in retaliation. I just sit there, doing nothing. I can't eat anyone with so many humans watching. You're supposed to tag us now. The Sharif reminds me. Oh, right. After a moment's hesitation, I scuttle after some nearby humans. They shriek with laughter, scattering every which way. After a little while, I feel something bubbling up in my chest, and without any conscious attempt from myself I start to laugh as well. Oh. So that's what it means. This is what it feels like. A grin wider than any other blossoms under my mask. This is fun. It's like outwitting dangerous prey, or learning interesting things about humans. I'm happy. That's what this is. Faraway islands pass lazily overhead as time flies away, my squeals of laughter joining that of the smaller humans. How am I supposed to eat them now? If they die, how will they play with me? Sometimes, a tall human comes and takes a member of the game away, which is annoying. But it doesn't matter, as long as the game goes on. Sharif. A tall human I've never seen before stomps towards us. Most of the small humans stop running, staring at the newcomer with the wide-eyed look of prey realizing a predator has arrived. What are you doing here? The new human demands. Look at you. You're filthy, there's a hole in your new pants, you're associating with this disgusting riffraff. I can't believe this. This is exactly what you promised not to do. But Mom, the Sharif protests. The tall human struts right up, grabbing the Sharif by the wrist and yanking him away from myself and the other small humans. No buts, young man. This is unacceptable. She turns to the human the Sharif calls Nana. This is your fault too. We pay you explicitly to prevent this. I move forward as it drags the Sharif away from us, glowering behind my mask. How dare it take him away? Without that one I wouldn't have started playing at all. And now the other small ones are scattering. Hey! I snap. Leave him. We're having fun. Don't talk to us, the human orders. Stay away from my son. I watch them move away together, stewing in what I can now call rage. I suppose this solves my problem, at least. I know exactly which human in this colony I'll eat first.